Millions of Nigerians living abroad continue to contribute to the nation's economy through remittances, investment, and advocacy. Yet, they remain politically voiceless. Despite repeated calls and a pending bill before the National Assembly, diaspora voting remains a dream deferred. As the world moves towards more inclusive democracies, Nigerians abroad are asking, why not us? As Nigeria's electoral system failed a vital part of its citizenry. And what will it take for Nigerians abroad to finally have a say in who leads the nation? Now, joining me to further discuss this is Glory Ukwenga. She is the Executive Director, Africana League. Thank you for your time.
Having me, Dr. Good evening.
All right, let me start by asking you, as someone who, of course, is resident abroad, how does it feel, being excluded from voting? I mean, the country is gearing up for its 2027 general elections, and there are already talks, alliances, and permutations. But, I mean, those Nigerians abroad might not be part of the process once it comes. For you, as one of them, how do you feel?
Well, I have to point out that right now I am in country, and but our organization being globally positioned with our members, in different spheres of the world, we definitely can relate with their realities, which is primarily that of exclusion, a sense of alienation. When we talk about people in the diaspora, we're referring to people who send remittances home. We know that, as of 2023, there's the reports, circulating that Nigerians in the diaspora remittances contributed about $20 billion, to the country, and that's a lot of investments. These people invest also in the country as individuals. They also do their best to support their families who are largely residents, back home as indigents. And then they are more than anyone in country mindful of their identity as a Nigerian, because when you are abroad, your primary means of identification is your passport. And the whole idea of identity is no longer a question of tribe or religion or whatnot. It's primarily that you are Nigerian. And so the mindfulness and the consciousness of being Nigerian is usually more present with the Nigerians in the diaspora. And when we look at a reality where the country, in asking you to vote, makes another demand for you to be physically present, we then have to consider the realities of our democracy and the rights of citizens as being centered to territorial presence rather than global identification. And that calls to question, to a good extent, the legitimacy of democracy that we say we practice. Because if you say we're running a democracy, it is first and foremost about representation. And representation cannot be said to be significant if exclusion is the order of the day. So yes, it's a valid concern, and I really identify with this, even personally, as a significant challenge for any Nigerian in the diaspora at this time.
Now, I mean, you have stated that it's a big concern, but some would also tell you that in terms of visibility, Nigeria might not even be in the best position to conduct such now, given the fact that even our, well, I call it locally organized elections for those within the country, there are still challenges, there are glitches, from logistical glitches to technological glitches. You look at quite a couple of problems here, and some will say, you know what, we are not matured yet, advanced yet, to now say we want to add diaspora voting to the process. What is your reaction to these concerns?
Well, Africana League, for its purpose, it centers its conversation around youth. And I see that the problems that really are about Nigeria's democracy are usually about the things that affect, different stakeholders and constituencies when they ask or place demand for, for inclusion and for consideration on the system. And it brings to question usually the matter of political will. Because For instance, if you see that in implementing e-passport, Nigeria has been the first, faster than even any other country in Africa, to have made significant progress in it. As of 2007, the first country that did that in Malaysia did that in 1998. What this tells us is that the extent to which political will always would allow systems to work, and it affects not just the issue of diaspora voting, it affects almost any other issue, which includes the elections that has been practiced in country. Now, granted, we have to understand that there is a major question of whose interest is being served when this doesn't work, or when things even do not work in general. So we have to look at first the political calculation that the diaspora constitutes a significant population. As of now, it's reported that there are about 17 million people. And for context, if you place this against the background that in the 2023 elections, which was the last general elections we had, Nigeria witnessed, as reported by INEC, about 9.5 million people who were recognized as newly registered voters. So that means that people in the diaspora, if allowed to vote as a number, as a voting bloc, could significantly alter political calculations. And perhaps the powers that be, or those in the order of the day, do not yet know how to make this work in their interest. So it's something that could make them jittery to ensure or facilitate the process. And we also have to consider the realities, yes, that our system as it is does not make for public trust. There are concerns about legitimacies, concerns about the opportunities for fraud, verifications, and the integrity of the system, and that this will throw up more vulnerabilities. But then the question is, if not now, when? Okay, so we're always about rhetoric as a country, and you never really get to have it right. But if we want to put something in place, we have to use the incremental or gradualist approach that allows us to be able to check for concerns and to make necessary adjustments and adapt on the go. But the reality is that it has to start happening first. The constitutional and legal complexities also would have to really be addressed first and foremost. Of course, that's what's on the table, but the process has to start. If it doesn't start, we don't have something to interrogate. We don't have something, or data to work with to say, okay, these are the challenges, these are the learnings, and this is what we should do better going forward. So beyond rhetoric and beyond the reality that yes, there are always problems, there always will be problems, and the system is hardly ever perfect anyway. So we might include the voices of a significant population who really want to, in truth, be part of the decision-making process of how leaders emerge in the country.
All right, Glory, thank you so much for your time on the program. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Of course, Glory, Ukwenga is the Executive Director, Africana League. Thank you once again for your time.